Lifters. I'm Miranda Savas. I've spent the last 20 years at the intersection of behavior change research and coaching, helping midlife women do big, brave things. One of the things I hear again and again from women who are going through major pivots and changes is, I don't know how to show up as my full self. I feel like my body is changing. I don't know how to dress it. I feel like my needs and the way I spend my time is changing, and I don't know how to embody who I'm becoming. And I feel that every day. I have very consciously created spaces and a wardrobe for this chapter and gone through the messy divorce of giving away the clothes that felt like who I once was and how I wanted to show up in the world. And I also know that that way of being is a real privilege to get to have the choice about how to dress myself and how to show up in the world and to get to think so consciously about what my clothes say about me, which feels like the first creative act of every morning and the first moment that I step into who I want to be for that day. And yet there are so many around us who don't have that privilege. And when it comes down to it, our clothes signify our sense of self and how we feel about ourselves in a given day. Research often calls it enclothed cognition and tells us that clothing doesn't just reflect how we feel, but actually shapes how we think, how we perform, and how we move through the world. And whether you're a woman navigating midlife or just a woman navigating change in general, that's a very big deal. And it can be a real tool in our process of redefining ourselves and sort of reintroducing ourselves to the world. My guest today is Susan Canoff, and for a whole lot of reasons, she probably knows more about this than anyone. First of all, she is a well-known blogger and influencer. You can find her under the handle The Midlife Fashionista. Her work is so fun and so accessible and just like warm and inviting. And I think for all of us in midlife, she's going to have so much to tell us about like how we think about these new bodies that we're trying to show up in the world in. But she's also the founder of Uncommon Threads, which is a nonprofit that empowers women in need through clothing, personal styling, and confidence building. And she's created Uncommon Closet, which is a social entrepreneurial endeavor, which is providing funding for Uncommon Threads. She also co-founded Kicking Cancer and Heels on the heels of her own cancer diagnosis in a search for community and connectivity and impact there. And that's a platform for women impacted by cancer. She's a contributor to Midlife Private Parts, which is where you may have heard of her either in the book or from Dina Aronson, who nominated her for the show. She has so much to tell us today about courage, about transition, and yes, about clothes. Please join me in welcoming Susan Canoff to the Uplifters. Susan, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh my gosh, I'm just blown away. Wow. And I don't think I need to say much more. I think you just covered it. Wow. I need you for marketing. Amazing. So nice to be here. Thank you. I'm really excited about our conversation.
I am so happy to be here with you and so grateful to Dina for introducing us. You are such an uplifter in every way.
Thank you. Thank you.
So honestly, I feel like the worry for me was how do we talk about everything we need to talk about with Susan in just 35 minutes when really I feel like we need about 6 episodes here, one for each major chapter of this. So we'll try our best to capture it and then just keep connecting from here. So I know you started your career as a social worker and then founded the nonprofit. So tell us a little bit about that journey and specifically the moments in which you experienced some fear or doubt about that transition.
I was a social worker. I ran a federal program for low-income families to coach and move them out of poverty over 5 to 7 years. It was a very long relationship that I had with my clients. It was really special.
Wow.
Most were single moms. And during that time, this is probably around 2000, maybe 12 or 13, I just honestly, I needed a fun outlet. I needed something creative. Not that my job wasn't fun, but it had its dark moments too. And I just wanted something really light and fun and to make some extra money. And so I loved to dress my friends, and one of them wanted me to dress her for a wedding. So I did. And her friends were asking if I could do it for them. So one of the things about me is I kind of jump into situations sometimes, and I said, okay, I'll put cards together. Like here I am, not an ounce of fashion background. I did not know one designer from the other. All I knew was like what colors would look great on you, what styles. And I also had like the psychological piece of understanding women's self-esteem issues and why we dress the way we do and all that. So I started this little business, and within a pretty short time, within a year or two, I was styling for television. I was a local style editor for a magazine. I started my Instagram account because my private clients wanted inspiration. They were saying to me, can you just like post to social media every day what you're wearing so that I can copy it? So again, knowing nothing about social media, I was like, okay, sure. And I started that and it took off, and I started getting a really nice following. And I started working with brands like Chico's, big brands, being sent on trips and doing all kinds of fun things. But what happened that was really pivotal was that my private styling clients wanted a place to bring their clothes that they didn't want anymore, and they wanted them to go directly to women in need. They were tired of putting them in a bin or dropping them off at Savers or Salvation Army. They wanted to know they were really being put to good use. So again, I said, okay, bring them to my office. And so I became like a drop-off center for clothes. Luckily, I had a very big office, and I set up racks and thought I was going to actually get fired. Not, I'm just kidding. But my director was having a heart attack. She's like, I work
What
for a
is
housing
happening?
authority. And she was like, this is not like clothes, what we do here. This is housing and social services. But she let me go with it. And in 2000, it was either the end of 2015, I think it won a state award in Massachusetts for innovation, even though it was nothing. It was just a closet in my office that was helping women when they were feeling down. You know, we would put a cute outfit together, or they were going on a job interview. I would help them put an outfit together from my little curated collection. And it won this award. And I was just like, oh my God, like I don't even have a name for this. This is just clothes. So in 2016, with my director's encouragement, she probably wanted me out of the office. She probably wanted those clothes out. Just kidding. She really encouraged me. Her name was Kathy. And she said, you really need to start a nonprofit. So Uncommon Threads was born in the fall of 2016 in a small room in the back of a mill building in Lawrence. And fast forward, we are going on 10 years old in the fall, and having a big celebration to celebrate it. And now we're serving from 400 women the first year we were in operation to over 8,000 a year now. And we went from 400 square feet of space to over 4,000 square feet of space. It's grown, and it stayed within the same back of the building in Lawrence. So we are in the same location. We just took over the whole wing of the building. So it's been a wild ride, I'll tell you.
My goodness.
Yeah.
What an extraordinary impact from one tiny decision.
Well, yeah, and I think part of it is, you know, it's good and bad about my personality is that sometimes I just do things. And I think if I had thought about it too much, you know, I had to take an early retirement from my job. There were risks for sure, but I just did it. And I think sometimes that's what holds us back is overanalyzing, and not that you should just jump into everything, but sometimes when we think about things too much, we find reasons not to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a good and a bad trait.
I think that is absolutely true. And I think, if we can hear stories like yours too, it reminds us like, you know what's right. You knew this need was there. And the thing I take from your description of it is you knew you'd figure it out. And taking a we'll figure it out mindset is truly transformative. And because so much of what we say to ourselves is, will I figure it out? Can I figure it out? And those questions are just really too impossible to ever answer. And so then we stay stuck. And so it is like if we find ourselves talking about doing something over and over for years and not actually doing it, I think if we can just listen to you on repeat and just be like, okay, we're just going to
Just
jump in,
sometimes
figure
you're
it out as we go.
you're passionate about it. Life is short. As far as I know, we're only here once. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, if you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it?
Hmm.
And if it fuels you and lights you up, why are you not doing it?
Yeah. Well, and that question I think leads to the conversation about your cancer diagnosis and how that's shifted some of your thinking about the tenuousness of life, about how temporary our possibilities to do big, brave things are.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's taught me a lot about life. One of the gifts, I guess, of cancer. So I was diagnosed in 2018 in the middle of a huge transition. We were moving, we were building a house. We had issues with the construction. We were displaced for a year without all of our stuff in storage and no furniture and blah, blah, blah. And I had just started on Common Threads about a year and a half before. So that was still, kind of in a crazy place. And I just kind of did this and I said, oh, that's weird. I have a lump on the back of my neck and it didn't go away. Went to the doctors and the doctor said, you're just fighting something, it's a lymph node, no worries. I got another one. And again, do you have allergies? It must be allergies. Finally, I went to someone who figured it out. And I have chronic lymphocytic leukemia, which is a treatable but not curable leukemia. So, in the beginning stages, many people like me, not everyone, but many people stay in a watch and wait. We call it worry and wait.
Mm.
You just are kind of, the doctors are watching it, seeing, what's going on. And then when you get to a certain place, kind of the whole picture lines up, you start treatment. So in 2022 to 2023, I started a year-long treatment of infusions and an oral drug. And, this was a couple of years after COVID. So, I'm really immunocompromised as it is. And you throw drugs that completely wipe out your immune system in the picture. And I couldn't go into Uncommon Threads. I had to do everything remotely. I had to hire a director to take over the operations piece and kind of do the behind the scenes. It is what it is, right? I mean, I got a bunch of awards. I couldn't go to the ceremonies. It was tough, but I got out of it. And to your point about, life is short and you honestly just don't know. None of us know. Cancer, no cancer. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 seconds. We don't know what's going to happen in the next year. And so I'm someone who's really anxious and really fearful of life. And I mean, fearful of everything. And what ifer, my husband calls me a what ifer. But cancer taught me to take a breath and kind of throw some self talk in there and appreciate every day because, like I said, nobody knows. I mean, it was like just a meteor that dropped in the ocean that we all felt this huge boom from here in Massachusetts a few weeks ago. Like, nobody knows what's going to happen. So, seize the moment, live life and appreciate it and do things that you feel really passionate about. And yeah, it's not easy. I say all this, but I have to push through. I mean, I'm always, oh, what if? Let me Google. I have this like weird symptom. Let me go Google it, worst thing you can do. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Was there a point in there that you thought, okay, I can't do uncommon threads anymore. I have to just
yeah,
focus on my health?
yeah. I ended up, hiring a director. I couldn't go in. I knew I would always be involved, but I had to kind of relook at the situation and kind of pivot my job, which had always been doing a lot of everything, into kind of funneling it into, okay, this is what I can do from home. And, now the program's taken off and we just hired a really wonderful director. We had a transition, but now I'm able to get in there and to be a part of the magic. And I don't go in every day, but at least once a week, twice a week. And that's what I missed, was the being part of that incredibly wonderful, magical community, which women supporting women is the best, as you know, because what
Absolutely.
you're doing.
Well, and I think too, it's like one of the questions I think we ask ourselves a lot is this stalling technique, or actually is a protective tactic, is this the right time? And I've been thinking so much about how it's just never the right time.
No, never, never. Yeah. I mean, because look, things happen all the time. Now, having said that, there are some times that truly aren't the right time. Like if I was in cancer treatment, would I have started Uncommon Threads? No. But it wasn't an ideal time for me either. I mean, when I started it, I'm not getting much of a pension from my job. It was a financial hit. It was giving up a job of almost 25 years. So, but sometimes you just have to take a little leap and you have to take a chance.
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
never going to know all the answers. And there, like you said, there will always be something. And one of the things I think that's really interesting about you is you have continually added pieces to your puzzle, all in service of others while also honoring different facets of yourself.
Yes. And kind of all having common threads, because
Yes.
it's really all about empowering women
Yeah.
through different avenues, through clothing low income women, helping them to feel strong and powerful, helping everyone, every woman through the Midlife Fashionista, maybe making small shifts or getting an inspiration for an outfit, or sometimes I try to throw a little life stuff in there too. And the blogging, I haven't been great at blogging. I took out a Substack thanks to our friend Dina. And I love to write, but finding the time is always difficult. But I find it easier to do my Substack than to actually blog. And I don't know why. Maybe
Mm.
because I don't know. There's no reason actually. But I got my first paid subscriber, and now that's really putting some pressure on me to, I'm like, oh my God, I really have to write a lot more. So, but even through that, like I've shifted a little bit to a little fashion tidbit at the end, but talking about life stuff, like, or, trying new things, or, whatever it is.
I love that. Yeah. And I think an opportunity to play while also finding your people. And I'm like very, very big on Substack. It's like my favorite place on
It's
the
great.
internet
It's great. Yeah. Another
because we
social
get
media
more than just
platform.
like glossed over, right? You kind of get a more in depth view of a person's perspective. And I think it's really meaningful. I'm glad you're there.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit more about the Midlife Fashionista. I want to talk about the platform building piece of it and like putting yourself out there and what that experience was like. And then I also want to talk about clothes. As a 51-year-old woman who has no idea what my body is doing from like I did my transition of my closet this weekend and I have no idea now, season to season, what will fit. For 25 years, I knew that if it fit one summer, it was going to fit the next summer. Now, it's not even like, oh, these clothes are bigger or smaller because it has nothing to do actually with size anymore. It's like, oh, weird. This dress that was too small last year fits now. These pants that were too big last year are too small. Like I don't,
I know. It's
it is a
bonkers.
total mystery every
Yeah.
time.
Wait till your 60s. I hate to tell you, but it doesn't get any better.
It's good we shop at Goodwill
I
because
mean, I'm the same weight. My weight does not shift much. However, everything does shift and the clothes don't fit month to month. Sometimes I'm trying things on. I'm like, I just wore this last month. Why is it not doing what it's supposed to do? So just like life, right? Everything in life, we evolve, our bodies evolve, things change. Staying stuck in the it used to fit. I used to love this. It used to light me up when I wore this. If it's not doing that now, get rid of it. It's not doing you any favors, like emotionally beating yourself up every time you look at something. Or like I spent so much money on it, so I have to keep it. It's just taking up room in your closet,
how
you
long
know.
do you save things? Because my thing right now is I'm like, I'm saving them put away so they're not in my view. but I don't think I can get rid of anything because I have no idea what's going to fit next month.
Yeah, I
Because it's
mean,
not even, like I said, it's not bigger or smaller.
I guess it depends. If you think you are going to get back into it and you really love it and you know you're going to wear it,
No idea.
that's one thing. For me, at 64, it's really not going to, like, I'm not going to get back into it. If my rear end looks terrible in it now, like, it's not going to look any better at 65 or 66. And I work out. I mean, I'm not like a heavy, hardcore exerciser, but I do exercise. I am active, but your body changes and it's a
Yeah.
natural thing. So, to your question, if you really think it is going to fit at some point, then put it in a box in the basement with a question mark on it or in another closet, revisit it in a couple of months, and you love it. That's the other point.
Hmm.
You absolutely love it. If it's like, well, it's okay, I might need it,
Or
not,
just regret because you
not a
purchased something you don't need.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But, keeping the things just in case is does not usually work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Unfortunately. Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it's okay
That's
because
good.
then you can buy something that does, right?
That's right. And there's room. I have a very small closet, and I actually really love that because it's this great forcing
Yeah,
function. There are only so many dresses I can fit in 8 inches or whatever.
great. I kind of wish I had the same issue because it's like a handbag. The bigger you go, the more you keep stuffing into it.
Yes. Yeah. That's why I try not to have shelves in my house because I feel like you just end up with more stuff because
Yeah,
there's a place to put it. Very important topic.
yeah, it is. Well, and it makes us
It is.
feel when we have too much clutter, we feel like
Yeah.
closed in, and it causes anxiety.
Yeah. Well, it's also holding on to the past instead of creating space for the future.
That's right. That's right.
So, talk to me about building your platform. How old were you when you started Midlife Fashionista?
I think I started it in 2014. So I am 64 now. So it's been
50
probably
something.
12 years. Yeah. And like I said, it just kind of happened organically because my wardrobe clients wanted some visuals. They wanted to know if they could copy day to day, like a little lookbook. And oh my God, I looked back at some of my earlier photos. They were so bad. I was taking them in like a narrow over the door mirror on my closet. So like the photos were all really narrow, like none of them filled the square. They were really bad. And then as I started to grow a little bit more and I started to actually get brand deals, I worked with some photographers, or I'd get my husband to take, outdoor photos, or someplace else. But it really, like most things in my life, just kind of it happened organically. It wasn't anything I had planned on. It just happened. And I've had a lot of fun with it, and I have met so many incredible women like you and others, across the country. Every time we go on a trip, I meet someone that I met through Instagram. We just went to Ireland a few months ago, and I met someone in Dublin who had been following me. We became friends and we got together. Yeah. I mean, it's been an amazing experience. And even through my treatment, the year of treatment that I had, oh my God, I connected with so many women who were also going through cancer treatment or had been through treatment. And, we supported each other. We helped each other. It was amazing.
So, I think the reason a lot of people don't put themselves out there, even if they feel like, oh, I have this vision or I have this thing I want to say, is because they're concerned about other people's opinions. And they're
Oh
like,
yeah.
ugh, I'm going to do it wrong, or people are going to judge me and think I'm too much, or I'm like too big for my britches or show offy or whatever. Did you have any of those fears, or were you just like, I'm just going to post the picture?
I didn't have so much the fears at first. I was very self-critical. I mean, I'm a very
Mm,
self-critical person.
mm.
So I knew the photos weren't great, but I didn't know how to take photos. Like I didn't know about lighting, like I didn't know about any of that. But I've had a bunch of really negative comments. Not so much lately, but in the past, come on, honey, that skirt's a little too short for someone, your age, or making a very negative comment about, isn't it time you cut your hair? And my granddaughter yesterday said to me, and it probably is true, she calls me Susu, and she said, Susu, I think it's time you got a haircut. So maybe it is. But, like, who is, and besides my granddaughter, who are we to tell each other, like, if I like my hair long, I'm going to wear my hair long. Sorry
Yeah.
you don't like it, but, that's my choice, not yours. And if you don't like the way I look on my grid, then don't follow me. I don't care.
Yeah.
Follow someone with short hair. I mean, but yeah, I've had plenty of those moments. And my son, one really bothered me, and I won't go into it, but it was kind of a political thing, a
Mhm.
statement that I made, and I got bashed. And my son said to me, "You just hold your head high, and tomorrow you just post fashion again." And so I try to take his advice when I, get a negative comment. I'm just like, "Well, sorry you don't like it. Don't follow me.
Yeah.
Don't look, scroll by me."
Yes. Yeah. I love that. And I think that's probably a good mindset for everything we do in life where we're worried about other people's opinions. And I think all these things, right, when we talk about them though, we're able to find our way out of our own heads and out of our own fears by saying like, hey, do you feel this way too?
Yes.
And then we say, oh, okay, well, Susan, I see her doing all these amazing things. And I understand that, yeah, she's had this fear as well, or this worry as well, that she's self critical. All right, maybe I can do this as a self critical person. And like, look at Susan. She was self critical. She went and did the thing, she figured it out, and she's had all this impact. I want to have impact, right? So we create these models of belief and we shift our own sense of capability.
I am still so self-critical. I still worry, but not as much, which is, I think that's the other thing. If you can recognize in yourself that I've taken a little baby step
Yeah.
here, like I'm not as self-critical as I was when I was 30 or 40. That's a good thing, right? Because none of us are perfect. No one's going to, I don't care who it is, no one is 100% confident.
Maybe especially the people who look the most confident.
Totally. Yeah.
So I know when Dina introduced us, she was like, this one, like, no brainer, total uplifter. You're going to love her. Your audience is going to love her. And obviously, Dina is all knowing and was right.
I would like to nominate my Kicking Cancer in Heels partner, co-founder, Michelle Nadine Baker, who is an incredible patient advocate and had to pivot. And so, she had a huge job in communications, huge, and got diagnosed with my cancer and had to pivot and use her communication skills in the cancer field. And
Mm.
so she runs numerous groups. She interviews famous doctors. She's incredible. But the most incredible part about her is that she will help anyone who needs it, who's going through cancer. Like, you can email or you can text her. She's just always there.
Oh,
So she's an incredibly giving human being,
wow. Wow.
passionate, even though she's going through it herself.
We're going to have to introduce her to Rebecca Bloom, who just wrote When Women Get Sick and is another patient advocate. And I feel like, again, two women who could take over the
You
world.
are such a connector.
It's
What?
such a delight. It's like, I think that's one of my favorite things about being in midlife is like whatever we've been up to, we've accumulated a whole wealth of resources. And then it's like, what if we start like sharing them and all getting stronger and getting better resourced by sharing, whether it's, know a lot about law or cancer or whether
And
it's
doesn't it,
tactical
doesn't
information.
it just feel so good to support each other at this stage in our life? It's no longer that, I don't feel it anyway, competing or like, mean girls. It's just like, let's just help each other. This is an amazing thing. I love seeing another woman's success. Like, that makes me so happy.
Same, same. We all rise higher together. I also, to that effect, one of the things I ask every guest, because as uplifters, we love nothing more than supporting uplifters. How can we lift up you, Uncommon Threads, and your work?
So sweet. Well, I would love if you would follow Uncommon Threads on social media. We're at Uncommon Threads Boutique. You can check out the website, uncommonthreads.org. And we have this huge birthday bash coming up in the fall, and we need to raise a significant amount of money to keep the program going. If anyone is in the greater Boston area, or if it's a drive or train ride or whatever, and you want to come, it's going to be on September 17th in the evening in North Andover, Massachusetts. Everything's on the website. And we're looking for sponsors. So businesses who would like to sponsor and be a part of this incredible event and community. So, and auction items too, silent auction items. So that'd be great.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Well, count me in to donate coaching. And our we have a bit of a community fund in that all of my paid subscribers, all of that money goes into a community fund that we use to make donations to uplifters and the nonprofits that they lead or are a part of, and to buy books of our guests. And so I will make a donation on behalf of the uplifters as well to Uncommon
Totally
Threads.
sweet. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And I would love it if you're ever in the area to come by. I'll give you a tour.
I would love that. It would be so much fun to meet you. And I'm so grateful for your time, so grateful for what you're doing. And I really do believe that the work that you're doing is changing generations. That these women, my mother was a victim of domestic abuse for many years. And I think, like, what if somebody had been able to reach her and say, hey, let's give you a sense of dignity and a reminder of who you are. It could have changed the trajectory of her life too. So just incredibly grateful for the lasting work that you do and the way it must ripple through generations. And I look forward to following along and hearing more and more stories of that work, but also the fashion inspo, because it's all connected. And look forward to it. Thank you for being here, Susan.
This was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for watching the Uplifters podcast. If this inspired you, hit subscribe and tap the bell to stay uplifted. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs a little lift today. Big love.
Painted water sunshine with rosemary and thyme. Dwell in the perplexing, though you find it vexing. Toss a star and hover, be your own best lover. Relish in a new prime, plant a tree in springtime. Dance with idle hindsight, bring the sun to twilight.